everyone. Today I want to talk about the recent trend of renaming schools that were named after the Founding Fathers and the tearing down and burning of statues. Now, when it comes to statues, I can see some of the Confederate statues coming down because some of them were put up for bad reasons. Some of them were put up to show white supremacy, to show that the South is still in control, and those norms and values would stay, segregation, etc. But some of them were very touching, beautiful statues and monuments to lost loved ones, to the sacrifice that soldiers made, and they should stay up. Now, when it comes to the founders, I really have a problem with people saying we can't honor them because they were slave owners. Now, the problem with this is that we're judging them by our norms and values. It's called presentism. We have to judge people by their own norms and values. If any of us, our spirits, were transported to that time period, and we were in the planters class of Virginia, there's a 99% chance we would be slave owners. So slavery was wrong, and that has to be part of their legacy. But the reason why we have statues to them and monuments and schools named after them is that they move society forward. I'll give an example. George Washington. George Washington was a pretty bad general. He got defeated by the British almost every time he fought them. He didn't have a super successful early career. But the reason why we remember him is that he did not become a king. When the revolution was over, he went home. He was not the first president of the Confederate States. There was a time period between the revolution and the Constitution, and he was back on his plantation during that time. He wasn't a dictator, he was a Virginia planter. And when the Constitution was ratified, he was elected, and he served 2 terms, and then he went home. It was a peaceful transfer of power to John Adams. And this is exceedingly rare in revolutions. Revolutions rarely end up with people having more rights and more power. They usually end up with dictators. French Revolution ended up with Napoleon. The recent Russian democracy movement ended with Putin. Cuba, we ended up with Castro. China, they ended up with Mao. It's usually just a bad thing. We won the lottery with Washington in our revolution. We wouldn't have a nation that looks like it does today without him not becoming king, and then when he became president, not demanding that people call him His Excellency, Mr. President, that he was a person that was still subject to laws. And that's invaluable. And I'll give another example of Jefferson. Now, Jefferson had an even more complicated issue with slavery. He had children by slaves, much more complicated. But I think he had an even greater influence on America and the world than Washington did. Him, and there was others too. There was many others that were involved in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. But those ideas, written down in the form they were written down in, had never really been done before, and they'd never been put into practice. Now, those ideas at that time only gave freedom to full freedom to white males, and only property to white males. But those ideas carried us through to a better place. Those ideas eventually gave all white males the right to vote. Those ideas are the impetus behind ending slavery. Slavery was a thing everywhere, and America and England were instrumental in ending it throughout the world, and it was those ideas that carried the day. It was those ideas that gave women the right to vote and full rights. It was those ideas that ended segregation. It was people saying, look at what we claim to be. Look at what we've written down. Look at what we are. And segregation is not who we are. Discrimination is not who we are. So Jefferson and founders have to be remembered for that reason alone. It's not only our country that they've freed. People all over the world are living in democracies because of those ideas that happened in America. Because we transported democracy and those rights all over. Not every place is free, but many more places are free than they would have been if those ideas were not put into place. So, in conclusion, we have to remember people of the past and look at them through the lens of their time period and honor them for the reasons for moving society forward. There are no perfect people anywhere on the earth, and there was no perfect person in the past. For example, Gandhi was a racist. If you look at his writings about black people, he was a racist. Martin Luther King was an adulterer, but we don't remember Gandhi for being racist. We remember him because he started a movement that changed society and changed the world. Same with Martin Luther King. We don't remember him for being an adulterer. We remember him because he changed society and helped change the world. Anyway, that's about all. Remember never to believe anybody's propaganda, not even your own. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.